This is Danny with QuadLugs, and we're going to build a frame. So we have the arms, the adjustment arms. We're going to go ahead and prep all of these items. But first of all, we're going to prep the adjustment arms. So we'll get them unpacked. Tools we'll be using to put the frame together is, of course, a drill, 1/8 inch bit, 1/16 inch bit, #1 screwdriver, and that's about all we're going to need. So let's get it going. Okay, we're going to go ahead and drill the first hole, and it's going to be right in this area, and we're going to use an 1/8 inch bit. Good way to do this is put the adjustment head on, hold it down tight, and it's going to act as a bit guide. Okay, and you'll see that it's going all the way through, and again, this is the hole that we're drilling here. Okay, we're going to get this residue out. There we go. The next hole we're going to drill, and the best way to do this is, if you want all the holes on one side so all the screws are either on the front or the back, we're going to do this. Okay, so we're going to drill a hole here, 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 and here. And again, we're using the 1/8 inch bit, and this is going to hold the landing gear on. So we go about 3/8 to 1/2 inch up this way, from here to here, and in the middle here. And it's just approximate. And again, we'll clean out the residue. The other hole we need to prep, and we're going to use the 1/16 inch bit, is that we're going to drill through this hole, and we'll produce one on this side. And you want to hold it this way, pretty much straight, and also this way. If you're off a bit, it won't hurt anything. Okay. So now we have this hole drilled, we have this hole in here drilled, and we did this one. And again, if you put them in this orientation, you'll have all these holes on one side, and you'll have all of them on the other side. If you do it like this, they're going to be mixed match. You can do it that way if you want to. This makes a little bit neater job like this. So now that we have the holes drilled, we're going to continue on and drill these out also. Okay, now that we have all of the adjustment arms prepped, we're going to go ahead and set them aside. And if you're drilling this on a table, you might want to make sure that you have some kind of padding on the bottom so you don't drill through your table. Okay, that's my warning. Let's go ahead and take our motor mounts out. And we're going to prep these. Again, the 1/8 inch bit. And you'll see there's a circle right here, and this is, I guess, where they push the part out when they're injection molded. And you'll see, when you have it in hand, you'll clearly see the circle. So you can go right in the middle of that, and that'll give you an identifier on where to drill the hole. And again, it's 1/8 inch. You can drill them in the side if you want to. I prefer this. It works a little bit better for me. So let's do the rest of them. Okay, that completes that. So let's go to the next one. We'll set those aside. These are your 90s. We'll get to them after a while. These are your feet. We'll get to them after a while. These are your body supports. And let's go ahead and get this taken care of. What we're going to do here, we're first of all going to glue these. Now when you build your frame, you can build the frame a few ways. So it gives you the option to, you know, have it stacked the way we do this way, and that's the way we're going to do this one. Or you can have them single, and you know, that's going to be your choice. But on this particular one, we're going to install these stacked. So let me get these glued. You may want to have an old towel handy. And we're going to glue these up. We're just using super glue or CA glue, whichever you have. We're going to go ahead and put it like that. And we'll connect them. Let's go ahead and wipe it off, make it look pretty. And we'll hold it for a few seconds, and then we'll move on. You'll notice that there's alignment pins, and it helps you put them together. So anyway, I've held this. Let's set it aside. Let it continue drying. We'll go ahead and do this one. Anytime you're drilling a hole or gluing, you may want to wear eye protection on this. It's a good idea to do. Now we're ready to unpack the wood. This particular frame is one of our kits, and it's the wood is pre-cut. Now if you are building it to your own specs or to your own design, you can cut the wood, you know, whatever size you want. But on this particular one, we have the wood pre-cut. So let's go ahead and you may have a little bit of flash on the plastic parts, and you can just, you know, clean it off. It comes off pretty easy. In fact, sometimes you can just take it off with your fingernail. All of our wood is basswood. It's 1/2 by 1/2, and the crossover pieces are 1/2 by 1/4. So if you ever have a damaged frame, you can get the basswood at Hobby Lobby, Michael's, your local hobby shop, or from us. Real easy to get, really inexpensive to fix. So don't worry about crashing, you can fix it. So the piece we have here is 11 inches. And so we're going to get our center, and you'll see how it turns out at the end. We're going to get our center, so that would be what, 5.5. And then this is going to be spaced out 3 inches apart. So there we go there. Okay? And we're going to do the same thing to this other piece. These are the side rails for your frame. And we'll go ahead and mark this also. Okay. So let's go ahead and get these on. And you'll see I'm putting them just like that. We could adjust it more in a little bit. And once again, if it's hard to get this on, just tap it on the hammer. I wouldn't tap it on this side because you might break your glue apart. Tap on this part right here, and it'll take quite a bit, so you're not going to bother it. Or again, like I was saying, you can sand it. So let's go ahead and get this done. This is put on. Now we're going to put our adjustment arms on. And you'll see how these are installed. Okay. Let's get our 90s. And these pieces here are 5 inches. So I'm making this frame 11 by 5. You can choose to put the holes up or down, it's however you want to do it. I'm going to put mine up. Again, you want to get this put on, and make sure when you're installing, make sure the wood's all the way in. So you want to make sure it's all the way. So if you have to tap it, you know, with a hammer, that's fine. No problem. Just make sure they're pushed all the way in. These are our crossover pieces. And they're going to fit like this. When they're pushed in all the way, you can double check it, because when you measure the inside, five inches. So we cut these pieces are 5 inches. You want to make sure they're all the way in. These pieces are cut 5 inches. Make sure they're all the way in. To double check, measure from here to here, the inside, and it's a double check, 5 inches. So if you're designing a frame and you want, you know, like this one's going to be 11 inches by 5 inches, cut these pieces 11, cut this 5, this crossover piece 5, and you'll have this dimension. Super easy. So let's go ahead and put the front on. And once again, you want to make sure that it's all the way in. And we're going to do the same here. So again, if you have to use a hammer to tap this down, no problem, go ahead. Let's put this side on. And again, you want to make sure these are all the way in. Once again, as a double check, just as we did here, we measured 5 inches here to double check that everything was put together properly. We cut these pieces at 11 inches. We make sure this is pressed all the way in. And again, as a double check, 11 inches. So we know we're pushed in all the way. On this build, I'm going to pull these arms all the way to the end. Now you can, when on your build, you can put these in different areas if you want to. Just make sure that they're the same distance on all four, wherever you choose to put it. But here we're going to make it really simple. And it's going all the way to the end. Super simple. But you can change this if you choose. Okay? We're starting to get close. Let's do another double check. 5 inches. 5 inches. 11. And 11. We're in good shape. It can be off a 16th or so, 32nd. No big deal. Okay, so we're done there. So the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and put some screws in to secure the frame together. 16th inch bit. We're going to drill a pilot hole. And after that, we'll put the screws in. Okay, all the 16th inch pilot holes are drilled, and we're going to use the 5/8 long screws, and we're going to start putting them in. I normally use a power drill to get them almost all the way in, then I finish it off with a screwdriver. Okay, we just finished off tightening them by hand. Once again, let's make sure this is all the way pushed here and here and here. Because the next thing we're going to do is tie these pieces in where they will not move anymore. So if you're choosing to put it in a different place, choose it. Measure it. Make sure these are all the same. And now this step, we're going to lock it in. We're going to go back to the 1/8 inch bit again. And here we're going to install the motor arms. On this particular one we're building, these are 5 inches long. And we're going to install them into the adjustment head. And again, you want to make sure this is pushed all the way in. If you need to tap it with a hammer, do it. But you want to make sure that it's all the way in. You'll find sometimes that the wood, like here, slides in a little bit easier. This side is a little bit tighter. Go with the tighter side. Make sure these are all the way in. So now that you've pushed these all the way in, we're going to make sure this is pushed all the way down. We're going to use our 1/8 inch bit, and we're going to drill through this piece and this piece here. You don't have to press real hard, just a little bit of pressure, and it's going to again act as a bit guide, and it'll work its way right through where you need to be. After that's done, let's go ahead and clean out the residue. I'm using the 1/16 inch bit to do that. It works really good. I normally turn it over and do it this way just to get all the residue out. Okay, now we're going to start putting on the arms as we go. You'll see that we have double these screws here in case you mess one up or from changing the angles on it over a period of time. You'll have another set. If you ever need any more, you can get them from us. So we're going to take a washer and we're going to take the adjustment head. Now we're going to take one of the lock nuts and we're going to fit them here. You'll see it fits on there. We're going to hold it with our finger just to get it started. And we're going to screw this down a little bit. And now we're going to set the angle. The adjustment head moves in 15-degree increments. On this particular build, we're going to go with 30 degrees. 15, 30. But on your build, if you're designing it, you can adjust it however you want. But here we're going to 15, 30, and that's where we're going to put these at. We're going to tighten these up just enough to hold them right now. Later on, we'll tighten them really good. Okay, this one's done. Let's go ahead and get the others. Okay, now we're done with this. All of them are set at 15 degrees. And we've tightened it down. We're going to tighten it up more later on. Next, we're going to put our motor mounts on. Now, this is a step you could have done before you did this. It's up to you. But I'm just going to put this on afterwards. This is how we want it. We want to have this flush, the flat side up. Okay? We have all the motor mounts pushed on and we have them flush. We're going to go ahead and use our 1/16 inch bit again, drill a pilot hole, and once again we're going to use a 5/8 long screw. We'll finish the rest of them. The motor mounts are all installed. Okay? Next we're going to put our landing gear on. Once again, we have all the screws on one side. And you can have them to where they're in or they're out. I'm putting these in. So to do that, you'll want to have the proper orientation. So we're going to do this. There's one hole drilled. The other side is not. So you can just put them like this. And you'll need a hole drilled here and here. 1/8 inch bit. And once again, there's a circle here. So you'll want to go right in the middle. You'll see it when it's in hand. This is our landing gear. These particular landing gear are in this kit are 4 inches long. Once again, we'll push them in And once again, you want to make sure they're pushed all the way in. Like I said, you may have to sometimes use a hammer and just tap on it here to get it all the way down. A good way to check that they're all the same is just do this, and you'll see they match up, and that way your landing gear won't wobble on you. Okay, everything looks good. So let's go ahead and put our landing gear on. And being that we're putting the holes on the inside, we're going to want to make sure they're done that way so they all match. And we'll go ahead and use our 1/16 inch bit to drill these pilot holes. Okay, now we have the wood. We want to make sure it's pushed all the way in again, and we can start drilling our pilot holes for the last few screws in the frame itself. And once again, 5/8 long screws. Okay, your landing gear is completed and your frame is done. Next we're going to do is put our pan and deck wood on. This is 1/8 inch flat wood that's going to go in, and it really tightens everything up and makes it work really good once that is installed. One tip here though, I normally put these screws on the outside and also put these screws on the outside, so here, 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 and here. It's a lot easier to get to doing it this way. I did it this way just to try it, but this is much easier for you instead of trying to get a screwdriver in that area. So just a little tip, you may want to put the screws here instead. That completes the frame build. Now we're going to put the pan and deck on. We'll see you in a little bit.